Welcome to AG Chelsea TV. In this video content, we take a look at the latest Chelsea news. All news is collected by us from reliable and quality sources. And now to the main content. The Spain under-21 international took La Liga by storm in the 2022-23 campaign. Vega, who has a €40 million, £35 million, release clause, scored 11 goals and provided 4 assists in 36 La Liga appearances to save Celta Vigo from relegation. As a result of the Spaniard's fine performances, Ancelotti was asked about the chances of Real Madrid signing the Celta Vigo number 20 for this summer, where he opted to heap praise on the central midfielder. The Italian, as quoted by Fabrizio Romano, said, "I like Gabri Vega, he's a good player, he has quality." Ancelotti has worked with a vast number of world-class footballers throughout his career, so the 63-year-old knows a talented player when he sees one. And according to The Guardian, Mauricio Pochettino is now keen for Chelsea to sign Gabri Vega from Celta Vigo. With Mount potentially leaving for Manchester United, Mateo Kovacic in talks to join Manchester City, and N'Golo Kante closing in on a move to Saudi Arabia, a move for Vega would make sense to boost midfield numbers. Chelsea midfielder N'Golo Kante is set to become the latest high-profile player to move to Saudi Arabia this summer. It was announced on Monday that Newcastle United's majority owners, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, had taken a 75% stake in Saudi Pro League teams Al Ahly, Al Nassr, Al Hilal and Al Ittihad as part of Saudi Arabia's sports club's investment and privatization project. And since then, some of world football's most iconic names have been approached over a move to those PIF-owned clubs. Real Madrid legend Karim Benzema signed a 3-year contract worth a reported £172 million per season with Al Ittihad on Tuesday. And it's widely claimed that the Frenchman is on the verge of being joined by fellow countryman Kante. A delegation from Al Ittihad was in London on Tuesday evening to go over the terms of a 2-year deal worth around £86 million a year. The 32-year-old is a free agent at the end of this month after 7 years at Stamford Bridge. Asensio, 27, has been at the center of an ongoing transfer saga after butting heads with Real Madrid over a new contract. But after failing to agree on the terms of a new deal, the Spaniard will join PSG in the upcoming days, where he will undergo a medical. The move will see him earn €10 million a year, keeping him at the Parc des Princes till 2027, according to French publication RMC Sport. But Asensio had the option to move to the Premier League, with Liverpool and Chelsea among the clubs reportedly vying for his signature. Spanish outlet Diario AS claimed that Asensio rejected offers from Liverpool, Chelsea and Aston Villa prior to reaching an agreement with PSG. While his decision to join the League One giants was due to guaranteed first-team assurances, having been unable to nail down regular game time at Real Madrid. Indeed, with Lionel Messi leaving PSG this summer, the left flank will become free for Asensio, while he would likely be stuck behind Mohamed Salah in the pecking order at Anfield. Inter Milan are following Chelsea's Ruben Loftus-Cheek with great interest, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. AC Milan showed keen interest in the 27-year-old, but Paolo Maldini and Frederic Massara's exits could favour their city rivals to sign him. The Blues value the England international, who has a year left on his deal, at €20 million excluding bonuses. He's one of the players that could leave the West London club in the summer. If Inter were to insist on signing Loftus-Cheek, Chelsea will request him to be included as part of the deal for Andre Onana. Mauricio Pochettino's side are keen to sign the 27-year-old goalkeeper, who's valued no less than €60 million by his employer, especially since it's a big club that wants him. Loftus-Cheek isn't the only midfielder on Inter's agenda, however, as they are following Sassuolo's Davide Fratesi. Inter will hold talks with Chelsea after their Champions League final against Man City. During the meeting, they could talk about Loftus-Cheek, Onana, Romelu Lukaku, on loan at Inter from Chelsea, and a few other players. Arsenal and Chelsea are set to go toe-to-toe over the signing of Brighton star Moises Caicedo this summer. The two London clubs had bids for the 21-year-old rejected by the Seagulls during the January transfer window, but are set to reignite their interest in Caicedo ahead of next season. Roberto De Zerbi has been honest about Caicedo's future in recent weeks, and admitted the Ecuador international deserves to play at a higher level. They can have the possibility to change clubs, because they deserve to play in another level, he said. Having won the World Cup in December, Caicedo's teammate Alexis Mac Allister is now on the verge of signing for Liverpool, due to a £35 million release clause in his contract. Caicedo, on the other hand, is valued at over £80 million, and would require a huge bid to lure him away since he does not have a specific release clause in his deal. The 21-year-old signed a new long-term contract following the January transfer window, protecting his market value and putting Brighton in a strong bargaining position heading into the summer. Chelsea are expected to push for a move to sign Caicedo from Brighton in the upcoming summer transfer window, Football.London understands. However, the Blues' lack of European football next season may see the Gunners hold an advantage over their London rivals when it comes to agreeing personal terms with Caicedo. Before either club can negotiate with the player, they must agree a transfer fee with Brighton, who are holding out for a figure in the region of £100 million. CBS reporter Ben Jacobs said, Chelsea have other midfield targets, including Moises Caicedo, with Brighton braced for offers. Even though he signed a new contract recently, it doesn't preclude a summer move. My understanding is his new contract has a clause to help facilitate a transfer, although there is no actual release number. With Alexis Mac Allister it's a bit different, and that's why Liverpool are on the brink of pulling off a bargain signing. When asked whether Brighton look to include release clauses in players' contracts, club chief Paul Barber said, "No, we don't operate like that. We try and avoid things like that because they become such a point of discussion and negotiation that you spend hours and hours on something that may not happen, or if it does happen it may not be the right price at the right time. So we try and avoid things like that. We know other clubs use them, that's fine, but it's not something we tend to get involved with." Mac Allister signed a new contract at Brighton back in October, which included a £35 million release clause, allowing him to leave the club if an interested party were willing to match that price. Liverpool have exploited that clause and look set to make the Argentina World Cup winner their first signing of the summer. Caicedo's new deal may include clauses that help facilitate a transfer away from the Amex Stadium, but as Jacobs alluded to, there is no specific release clause fee, which makes negotiations much more difficult for Chelsea and Arsenal. Therefore, Brighton are able to demand a higher fee before allowing their talented midfielder leave the club. And that is also the last content in today's video. If you enjoy the video, please leave us one like and one subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell to not miss the latest content from us.